Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of NPC Smooth Finish. What we want to talk to you guys about today is the 2021 virtual conference. Just tell you some of the bits and pieces of it. Let's say the meat and potatoes, how we're going to take something that I think a lot of our members see our in-person as a huge event, lots of education, lots of networking, and finding out about what's going on in the industry. How we're going to take that from that in-person and bring it to you virtually. We've got some great plans in place. We have on with us today Jeff Henderson, who's the director of the NPC for us, and also Laura Eaton, who is very active in the auction part, and we'll be talking to her about what's coming in that, the opportunities, and how it also helps the NPC long term. So a little bit about, obviously, and I kind of said it already, the in-person for the NPC has always been, something to look forward to, and a big event for our specific industry within this trade, or our trade. It was a hard decision. There was a few things. Obviously, COVID is the reason, and we weren't really sure. We weren't really sure where it was going to be. It was one of the biggest things. Where is it at? And obviously, we're seeing now that there's some spikes out there. So I think it would have been harder, and it wouldn't have been able to happen. California was our destination, and obviously they're a little more stringent on theirs too. So we made the right choice, and in doing that early, like I said, and what we're going to share with you today is we were really able to build, put our platform together, and I think hopefully wow you guys, and hopefully you'll join us. So joining me is my co-hosts, Chris Marcano and Rob Romano. And hello, guys.
Hello, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And then also Jeff Henderson. How are we doing?
Doing well today. Thanks for the invite.
And Miss Laura Eaton. Welcome.
Hi. Thanks, guys.
So I think it's been just a few minutes. I think everybody has a fondness for the show. So, I put some things that, why we love the in-person. And I put fellowship, networking as number one, education, number two, auction. If anybody wants to share a highlight of the in-person, that, what I'm talking about, and kind of share.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, and just to reiterate, I mean, it's always a tough decision when you have to alter the normal course of an event like this particular trade show. But it is the right thing to do, obviously. I mean, public safety and the industry and community safety being number one. It is definitely it's a tough decision, but it's the right decision. But this is such a unique show, and I'm coming from a place where, for the last 17, 18 years I've been with this company, I've been involved with essentially almost every trade show that the industry has to offer. And this truly is a unique event, which is the kind of the secret sauce, of the whole organization. Is a big part of it is this show. And Brent, I think you nailed it on the head, and I'm sure we can spend some time anecdotally talking, but there's an undeniable sense of community and brotherhood and sisterhood. It doesn't both hoods, but there is definitely kind of a community that really is the spirit and encapsulated in this show, and also just the sharing of ideas collectively. Competitors, in theory, all come together at this event, share ideas, and the kind of, I'm using the air quotes here for those listening and not watching, but the tribal learning and tribal education is at a very, very high level. And I think we've discussed it in the past on former episodes that the need for education is so strong in this industry. So to me, those are just some of the takeaways, that I think make this show so very special.
Yeah, and again, we're going to talk about it more, but the education bit that we've been working on so hard, and if you're listening to the show before, because we keep telling you, this did fast track some of that for us. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as we get into the slate and share with you some of the classes going on. But absolutely, this kind of forced our hand to make sure it happened faster. So education, absolutely, for me, I would say, has always been a huge, huge part of this show. People come for that. They really do. And we give a lot of good information, and we're going to be able to do that again. So
But it's top notch, I would say. As you go to some other the larger trade shows, the national, the city show, they have big venues, what have you. But it's a very broad spectrum of education that's here. We do dial it in to plaster specific scenarios and water chemistry and such. I mean, I've learned. I've been in this myself for 30-something years, similar to Chris, going all over the country to different trade shows because of how my father's involvement in associations and now mine have been. What's really cool about the NPC is its size. It's not this big giant event. It is a bunch of like-minded people getting together and having a great time and sharing ideas and really bettering our little niche in our in the pool industry through that. And I tell you, some of my best friends come out of this. When we talk about fellowship, and fellowship is deep for me. I got a lot of great friends that come out of this year. All of those tie in, and of course the auction. The auction is one of the lifebloods for the NPC. Brings in a lot of money that goes towards the association, towards the programs that we put together, towards the research that we do as an organization for the industry. So auction's huge for us, and then that, we have that in-person venue at the show for it. But I'm interested and looking forward to hearing how we're going to do it going forward for the virtual show that we're putting on. But we thought putting this together was important. Keep the continuity going. We might be in COVID, but life isn't over. Let's do what we can to keep some sort of normalcy. Might be changed. I think by now a lot of people are used to Zoom meetings and parties and what have you, and we'll just keep that going for this
year. Yeah, Laura, and I'll call on you real quick on this. I'm not sure, but maybe last year was your first time at the show?
It was. Yes. So
maybe, share a little bit what your experience and if you, I guess, concur or what you might add to what we're saying.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely an experience. I absolutely fell in love with it. It was my first time going last year when we went to Houston. And I do know quite a few people involved in NPC because my dad has been involved in NPC for so many years. But to be involved on it in a different level, it was amazing. I absolutely loved it and decided I need to be a part of it. So joined actually 3 committees for NPC and have been involved, via Zoom and online work this past year. But it's great. It's a great way to meet people and that are in your industry, and wanting to do the same things that you're doing and learning together. And I like how you said friendly competition, because that's what it is, right? Just because you have a competitor doesn't mean that they're your enemy. You learn from each other, and this is how we grow nowadays. It's not about me against him. It's how can we do this together? So that's an awesome part about NPC.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head there, and a lot of it comes from this is not or an event that's driven or created by manufacturers selling products. There's manufacturers, of course, that are involved and sponsor and are part of the community and the overall cooperative effort, but it's not a sell show. And you can see that and tell that. And I think that's really some of the magic, to your point, that for lack of a better term too, once you go to this event, it is almost contagious. I get that same experience. I had it. I kind of covered for somebody with the NPC involvement, just happenstance, hey, can you cover this show for me? And I said, yes. And I've never looked back. I just said, I'm going to do this show no matter what. Every time I'm going to be involved with this organization. And, I think that was 12 years ago, and I never looked back. So this is a must for me. But I do think that's one of the unique characteristics of it and what makes it so appealing. And, you know, for anybody new that hasn't partaken or participated in a live event or the virtual event, which I think you'll agree that we've really focused on getting the essence of what makes the show and everything about it so special and carrying that over into this kind of unique, you know, version of it for this upcoming year. But anybody who comes to this their first time, it is kind of like putting on an old pair of shoes. You know, it just fits. It just is easy. It's comfortable and it's very enjoyable. So we really can't stress that enough. Having said that, Jeff, why don't you share some fond memories and some unique characteristics of this shindig?
Well, you know, I thanks, Chris. My first NPC conference was in Phoenix. We had just become your new management company in late April the previous year. And Dave Shelley, the chairman at that time, said, you need to get to work. We don't have a conference set up for February, but we want it to be in Arizona, and we want it on these dates, and the room rate can't be any higher than that. So go get it.
Easy, right? Easy.
And I'll never forget that show. I learned more about the NPC and its members in that week than I could have ever. If you want to know about the NPC, if you want to get to know its memberships and what it's all about, you got to come to a conference. And you walk out of there, you'll know exactly what these guys are talking about because they are dead on. Since that time, we have added more and more to our show. Our attendance has grown, and it's become a very popular show in the industry because of the attendees. You guys make it fun. You know, we have the opening night reception. That's a big hoot. And then you wake up the next morning, maybe in a little bit of pain, but you wake up and you go right into those,
I don't know what you speak of.
And you walk into those education classes and you start downloading information. We've conducted membership surveys over the years, and what the members have told us is that over 75% of them are dedicated and loyal to the NPC because of the education and the technical knowledge. And it also told us that over 80% of our membership plans every year to come to conference. So it's pretty clear that these conferences represent a unique opportunity for our industry, not going to find it anywhere else on the globe, to come together and learn exclusively about plastering and the impact of plastering and water chemistry. And this is really, really important to be able to have that. And everybody you sit with in that audience shares the same life experiences in the field that you do. So you can gain friends and network that'll last you a lifetime. And that's what I've learned. So when we were confronted with the fact that we were not going to be able to go live with an in-person show, we began to think about what can we deliver, right? You don't always get to play with the cards you want. You got to play with the cards you're dealt. So given what we have, what do we want to deliver? And priority one was education. And these folks will talk a little bit more about that. But I can testify to the fact that there have been hundreds and hundreds of volunteer hours put into this education slate since the summer, and even before the summer in some matters, to put this together. And they're really, really proud of it. Now, about the production itself, how is this going to work? So we decided to use the Whova application. And we decided on Whova because we've used the Whova app at our conferences for several years now. And we've always received great, great reviews on that. It's a tremendous networking tool in and of itself. I use the Whova app. I've used the Whova app at conferences for many years. And when I plugged back into the Whova app this year, because everything was going virtual, the first thing I recognize in my Whova app is all my history of all of my old contacts and all my old chats and everything else is still in there. It is a record of your contacts. And now we can use that and add on to it because Whova has developed a virtual platform for us to run our show. So we believe that Whova would be a good networking tool in this climate. Plus, it would be familiar to our members. We just didn't want to put members in a situation where they spent the first 30 minutes of the show trying to find out where the right buttons are.
Right.
You know, let's go in with something we know about. So I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Now, here's what I'm.
And Jeff, just to jump in here on that too, like when it comes to Whova, just if listeners out there are not familiar, it's a software company, and they've got an application, an app that you easily just download. But if you look, I mean, we've dealt with this stuff before, and sometimes they're seamless, and sometimes it seems like they don't really work so easily. Whova is top of the top. It really is. It's easy to download. You simply link up the event once you're registered, and it's all done through there. But if you look too on the App Store, just to pass this along, Whova's got like something like over 87,000 reviews, and it's a culminated score of 4.75 out of 5. So it doesn't really get any better than this. So Whova is a top-notch, easy-to-use application. So I'm excited that Jeff, that you've chosen and arranged to do that, just because having gone through a few, and again, naming no names, but having gone through a few of these in our industry and outside of our industry as well, these virtual shows, there are some that are much more easily manageable and enjoyable, and there are some than others. So the two times that I've dealt with Whova, or that I've used Whova, it's been flawless. So excited to hear that, and just encourage everybody to be sure to check that out.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate the testimonial, because that is very typical of what I've heard about Whova. I'm going to tell everybody that if you aren't familiar with Whova, or if you've not been in a virtual event with the Whova platform, on our conference webpage, you will see that we've uploaded a YouTube video from Whova, which is a user tutorial. It'll tell you how to download it, how to use it, what to expect at conference. It's about a 2 or 3 minute video, very, very intuitive. So I really encourage you to go there and do that. We'll tell you how to get to that later, so you have to wait through the show to get that instruction. But I'll tell you this, if you invest in this show and you use that Whova app during the show, think of it this way. You got to work this show just like you'd work any other show, right? You're not going to get any leads if you just sit at the bar the whole show. We know that, right? I mean, well, you might, but
I personally put this theory to the test before, and the verdict's still out on this.
But what Whova allows you to do without having to chase people down all over the conference floor is you can pick up your phone, scroll through the contacts. All the registrants are going to be in their contact, and you can start blowing up their phones with messages. And that's what I hope we all do. I hope we make a great event of this, where folks are reaching out to each other, setting up next week's meeting. Hey, come see my exhibitor page. Hey, you got to download this brochure we put on there. Hey, how'd you like that product we sent you last month? Do all your networking, and you can do it from the power of your phone, and all of those conversations and all that contact information will stay with you even after the show.
Very, very powerful tool. Very powerful. And that's Whova, WHOVA, on the App Store.
Yeah, and what's the conference site, Jeff? Can you share it? Do you know it?
I do. Here's what you guys need to do. Just go to npconline.org. Click on our banner. It's right there at the top, virtual conference. Just click on the banner. The banner will take you to the site, to the web page, and it will give you an overview of the show. It's got the Whova user guide tutorial. There's a link there to go to the program schedule to get details about the education classes, the auction, etc. And of course, the most important link of all, the one that you click on to register. And we need you to register, and we need you to register before January 26th. It's a week from Tuesday. You got to do it before that, because I desperately want to save you $50. I'm going to be brokenhearted if I can't save you $50. So get on there, click on this thing before January 26th, and it's $99 for members, $249 for non-members. So at that price, if you're a non-member, join the NPC and get the full benefits, because you've made a nice down payment on it with your registration, right? So take care of all that in one visit, and we look forward to seeing you there.
Yeah. Real quick on Whova more. I remembered at the show last year that, people at the show were creating meetups, and I think that's something that can that's something can happen, I mean, it's all virtual. So you can say, hey, happy hour, let's talk about surface prep, right, Rob? Come on. But whatever the case may be, but that's the great thing, that you can, because you're still networking with these folks, or, during a class, you're sitting there watching people interact, or after during the Q&As. You can meet up with some of those people. If they say something interesting, you want to know more. So, it does definitely, the platform allows for a lot of that networking that won't be able to happen in person. And And then on the vendors, I haven't started mine yet, but I do know that I plan on, putting some videos, including our brand new catalog, the types of things that I need people to know about, samples and how to get those, and those types of things. If you're looking for products and whatever, that those will still be available to you. They'll be virtual, and there'll be ways to talk to those vendors directly. I mean, it's a live app, so during the events, you can chat with somebody, any of the vendors at any time. Maybe they won't be available right at that moment, but they can get back to you. So next we have the education, which, as we've all are fond of and attested to, is so important to us. So just want to spend a little time talking about the slate of classes that we have. Maybe talk about a few that are there. We can announce them all that are happening, and just talk about that a little bit. So
you hear that? We created so much excitement that they're already calling in to join the show.
That's right.
I am in an office, so I apologize. We're not in the studio.
No, by all means, Brent, continue.
Okay. Take a message.
Yeah. Answer machine did pick up.
So, anyway, so what we want to do, I mean, there's some of the classes that we're doing. There's going to be classes, and most of the classes, from what I understand, Jeff, you may be able to speak to this, a lot of them are going to be pre-recorded. So, that way, like this technology now and some of the other technology when you're live, you've been on Zoom over the last year, so you probably know what I'm talking about. You lose people, they come back in. The last thing you want is your presenters talking to you about something, and all of a sudden you get disconnected. So one of the things we're doing to try and make that go real smooth is pre-recording most of the classes. But what you're not going to lose, my picture's going down here, is the ability to talk to the teacher and the other people in the class, because we're going to do live Q&As after every session, and that's going to give you an opportunity to chat with the presenter, hear the other questions from the class, probably give us quite a bit of extra out of what was already presented. So Robbie, I'll just throw one at you. I mean, you're doing the surface prep, and this is one of those classes we've been talking about that is based out of our manual, our tech manual. It's, there's a lot of ways to skin that cat. So you're going to be presenting the ideas that we see as viable and, not any specific direction, but that, hey, here's the ways that the NPC sees that we aspire, that we have standards for. So anyway, I'll just, if you want to expand on that a little bit.
Well, it's part of, like you said, it's part of teaching out of the tech manual. This is the first one out that we put together, prepping for new and renovated pool surfaces. I still have yet to do the actual video. I did for another event that's coming up soon. I went in and did so I had a little practice teaching or giving my presentation in front of a camera. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be, I'm actually looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. When it's done, I'll be available, and I believe it's the same for all the other teachers as well, that they'll see a video presentation of their class and have a question and answer period right afterwards. So I'm not without. This is the first of my time doing it, so I got no more really the input to give to it. Jeff, have you been through these yet before, or Chris?
I personally really like this. Just for one thing that jumps out at me is, like, this is a full slate of educational events here. I mean, I'm looking at this schedule, and I mean, it's not dialed back because it's virtual, which is impressive, because I think that was a lot of fat that was trimmed off of other events within our industry. It's just the participation wasn't there. If it's not a live event, we're not going to really put much effort to it. So the effort's definitely been put in from an educational standpoint. But the thing I really like about this, and again, having been through a few of these already this season, is that whether it's a live event or, or a real time event, virtually, or a pre-recorded class, the fact that there's the engagement afterwards that's offered, because that really kills two birds with one stone. You can watch the class, participate in it, absorb at your own pace, and then you have the opportunity to engage with the instructor or the professional on the other end of it. But you can take that class and watch it later and truly use it as a resource. Whereas at the live events, they're fantastic. Trust me, I've taught so many of them, and it's a real thrill. But it's an in-person event where you take what you take from it. You don't leave with the class in some digital capacity on your phone, on your device that you can share with your team, you can share with your partner, you can share with your employees. So I think that's one of the great things. You can really have your cake and eat it here too. You get these great classes that are offered. You get the opportunity to engage with the educator immediately afterwards, and you get to take that whole class experience with you to share and distribute out among your companies and among your peers and coworkers. So I love it.
Jeff.
Yeah, Chris, I think that's a great point. I want to let everybody know what we're going to do there. Your registration will give you access to the conference for up to 30 days after the conference. Mm-hmm. And that's going to empower you in a couple of ways. Number one, if you're just flat out busy, and I know you all are, and you just can't get to conference that week, hey, that's no excuse. Yes, you can. You can just go ahead and watch it at your convenience when you do have time. Watch it over the weekend. Watch it when you do get that moment to sit down and absorb it. Number two, on the other side, for the first time ever, we'll be able to satisfy a complaint that has told us over the years is, hey, you've got 2 or 3 really good classes going on at the same time, and I can only see one. I'm going to miss it. Now you don't have to make that choice. You can go ahead and enjoy the one that you want, and then you can go back and see the other one later. And I think that's powerful for everyone as well.
Extremely.
You can consume the entire show, right? They can go to all 12 classes.
And not only that, you can consume it at your own pace, and you can consume it and at a pace with the crowd that you wish. So again, I think this is going to really afford a participant the ability to share this with their team in a whole new capacity. You don't have to cherry pick 2 or 3 or 1 or 2, folks on your team to go to an in-person event. You can share this with all 30 people that work for you, or all 50 people, or all 7 people. I mean, this is available for 30 days. So take advantage of this. I mean, this is outstanding opportunity.
Yeah, and the other thing is always this track again. It's offering you all different things. There's a business track still to the event. There's a technical track to the event. I'm actually hosting a class where I'm talking to some big guys in our industry. All of them are former presidents of the NPC. Lee Valenzuela, Dave Schilly, Dave Cook, and we're talking about adapting to COVID-19. I'm going to dive in with them on, how it impacted their business, what they learned from it, what they're doing now with the pool industry, the extreme growth. So getting perspective from, 3 titans, I would say, is huge. So those are things too. There's a couple other ones that are panel discussions like that. So
panel discussions are great because you really. That's going to be live, Brent? Is it going to be a live?
Well, we talked about that. I think we're not going to do it live because, again, what if I lose a guy in the middle of it, right? So we're going to do a host walkthrough, but yes, at the end I'll have the guys on there and we'll be able to answer those questions. So I think it's going to come off as a real natural conversation. I didn't want to hang up with Lee when I was just talking to him about the class. I mean, what he's been through, experience personally, what his company's been through and experienced. It's amazing. So I think people are going to want to hear that. So, it's relevant. So we're bringing that to you, No,
I agree.
Yeah.
It's going to be, there's so much from an education standpoint that this offers, I mean, it really is a unique, offering from within our industry. It's unlike any other, educational, curriculum out there. It really is. You want to shift gears a little bit and start talk about
Yeah.
something really funny?
Let's engage Laura.
Yeah, let's talk about because personally, I love this event. I mean, it's kind of hard to describe it, but without further ado, why don't we just kind of let's give a little overview of the auction, and then we can kind of break it up and really discuss it.
Okay. Awesome. So, you guys are used to the live auction, which takes place during either the breakfast time or the lunch time, in the banquet hall. And, it's usually broken up into like 4 different sessions. I don't know, maybe about 30, 45 an hour long. And, my dad, Jay Eaton, is the auctioneer, and we have a bunch of donors that have donated all sorts of stuff, whether it be, cement or pebble or plastics or fun things like electronics or gift cards or jewelry. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff. So that same idea is going to be transferred into the virtual auction this year. And it's going to be broken up into 2, I think, 1-hour segments. And we're still going to have Jay being the awesome auctioneer. And it's really fun because he kind of like picks on people and kind of forces them to buy things when maybe they don't want to. But, there's a little bit of fun to it too, so it's not just like this boring thing. Like you're engaged. It's items that you are using on a daily basis. And you're getting a great deal for it. And like knowing that you're not just buying the stuff, but it's actually going for a cause, right? So like the proceeds from the auction are to benefit the continued education for NPC and to help out like with the scholarships. And, there's a bunch of stuff, but it's all to help the program, which in turn helps you as whatever part member that you are. If you're a plasterer, if you're a vendor, if you, whatever the situation may be, there's going to be a benefit for you to be a part of this auction. So.
Absolutely. Not only is it a great cause, but it's the quality of items on the auction are as high. I mean, it's the highest quality things you can. It's not just swag that's getting donated by manufacturers, which is very typical for a lot of industries. It's quality goods at a great price for a great cause. Also, there is the entertainment factor. I mean, you do have some showmanship there. It's an event. It really is, and it's something that I've noticed that people sometimes, as part of the justification to going to or participating in this event, it's because they're like, oh, I have to buy this at the auction. It's truly become ingrained in part of it in the spirit of the whole thing. So if you haven't checked it out before, be sure and participate and give this auction a try, kick the tires, because I guarantee you're going to probably most likely walk away with something.
Well, and I'll say, Laura, I'm sure that you'll say the same. We're still accepting donations,
Yes.
from vendors, and, absolutely, it goes a long way. I mean, the people in the NPC, like we've talked about, it's a tight knit group. They're there for a reason. The auction's a big part of it. They're looking for stuff they buy every day. They're getting a heck of a deal, and they know that their money's going towards the future of this organization. So, when you're a vendor participating in that and you're offering products, people take notice to that. I mean, you're going to get some mileage there. And, I think it's important that we all do that. I wanted to, obviously thank you to the vendors that, many of them year after year, are giving to the group, and they believe in the group too. Obviously it's, it's their life, it's their lifeline. I mean, it's their business, right? But I think some of them, there's other things in there. If you're there as a vendor, you can or you could probably bid on an Apple Watch. I mean, it's not just those types of things, but I think the most important is that it just keeps our wheels turning at the NPC. And I also want to take a second, just, the Eaton family has been so instrumental in this for so long. Laura, your mom and your dad, putting so much effort and time. I mean, we've created a committee with you involved that really kind of takes place of their personal effort, sacrifice to make sure that this event happens every year. And, that's a testament. So thank you to Jay and to your mother and to you. Yeah.
Round of applause. Yay.
Yeah. Virtual applause.
Virtual applause.
Virtual.
That's
Virtual
right.
applause.
Outstanding.
Is that like a golf clap?
Yeah.
Well, so obviously this is an event that is not to be missed within the industry, especially within this specific niche of the industry, but really to any pool professionals out there. There's something for everyone at this. Jeff, can you kind of walk us through any last kind of sponsorship or opportunities there are out there?
Well, there are several. We do have exhibitor space available. Each offering comes with the ability for you to create your own conference website. You can load videos. You can load materials like digital brochures. You can man those spaces on the exhibit side. You can man that live and interact with those that come to visit. You don't have to, but you can. And I can tell you, my company has conducted many of these. And there is a lot of traffic that goes on over there. It does. It doesn't always feel like it, but just imagine you've got a student sitting there viewing a presentation, and Mr. Romano is droning on about something and you just decide to go over and click on a link, and you say, "Whoa, what is this world I'm in over here?" And that's kind of what's going on. Now I tease Rob because everybody knows he's great, but it is a good investment. But I think what I want folks to note is that we really heavily reduce the price tags on these offerings out of the courtesy and the recognition that this isn't what we wanted, right? None of us wanted this. But what we do need to do is we need to cover our costs. We need to deliver this to the industry, and we need to create a great event, and we need to give you some airtime. We need to give you a way to get your brand out there and to talk about your stuff. And I think with the Whova app and the tools that come with it, you're going to be able to maximize it. So if you're ever going to invest in one, this will be a good one, because the audience is going to be there. They're going to ask questions, and you're going to get business from it. So come out and support the industry.
Absolutely. Well, Chris, what do you think?
I think that's about covered. If you have any questions, if you have any curiosity, there's still going to be links in the bios that I'm sure the mastermind behind the curtain, Dave, will include on all the links of this. So, but Jeff, just as a reminder, really quick, once again, to any listeners who want to participate, or any manufacturers or different companies that would like to sponsor, how can they right now take advantage of this event?
Well, you can do it one of two ways. You can go to the conference site, like I mentioned. Just go to npconline.org, click on the banner at the top, and it'll take you, and there'll be information there for all the opportunities and what they express. Or you can do what I do, which is call Mila.
Yeah.
But no, if you have any questions about this, please just drop me an email, and I'll get you in the right folks. There's just too many options here. And if you've got an idea for something you'd like to share with us, we're pretty open-minded. We just want to get your brand out and make the most of this. So email me at jhenderson@tso.net.
Well, there you have it. I say that's pretty much a smooth finish. What do you boys and lady think?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, very smooth. All right, guys, thank you so much. Please come join us at the show. We look forward to seeing you there, and you guys stay on with me right after. Thank you all, and talk to you soon.